Well, someone who, to this radio audience, needs no introduction, closing up tomorrow, by the way. Gail Worth, owner of Gail's Harley, Davidson in Grandview, joining us on KCMO on a Feature Friday. Gail, good morning. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Pete. I really appreciate you having me.
Well, listen, you are obviously an institution in this town, and you are hanging it up. Tomorrow's the last day. You're out of bikes. So what's the grand plan with closing up tomorrow after 25 years?
Okay, well, this is so appropriate. There happens to be a big ride called Guns N' Hoses that starts in Lindexa at the West Side Family Church and ends at Gail's at, like around 11 o'clock. It ends at Gail's. And it's really going to be great. It's a big celebration for our first responders.
Wow. Okay,
Yeah.
So that's taking place tomorrow. You're out of bikes. Tomorrow's the last day. You
Last
moved
day.
that date up, right? For your closing.
We did. It was going to be the 29th. Or always said 29th or when we run out of inventory. Well, we are out of inventory. We delivered the last one today.
How's it feel?
Incredible.
Really?
Yeah. I'm so excited and sad because Gail's is my baby. I mean, it's my baby. And it's been my identity. It's been everything. My passion in life. Everything is Gail's.
Well, that's so. You bring up that identity part. I mean, how many of us identify ourselves through this job? And we all get caught up in that. And it's probably not the best way to, in hindsight, view ourselves. And it scares us into leaving these jobs. Has that been a kind of a push and pull for you the last few weeks and months?
It really, really has. I would tell you what helped me get through it was I made that statement to my little sister.
Yeah.
And she said, well, okay, so think about this. Actually, Gail's Harley Davidson's identity was you. Your identity is not Gail's Harley Davidson.
That's a great point.
So, yes, and so that helped me a ton.
You were the face of that brand, but that brand does not define you.
Right, exactly.
That is such a great way to put it. Because you see people who hang around, in media, it happens all the time. It's like, what is my identity without this job and this microphone? And they're afraid to ever leave. And then before you know it, they're on the air and they don't even make sense anymore. So you see that happen all the time. For you, I know, of course, our late friend Slacker over at 101 The Fox, he passed away here in the last few weeks. And that was tough for you. He was your 25-year partner there at Gail's. What did he impart on you, and what role did that play in you deciding to retire?
Okay, well, Slacker and I have talked. We talk about life in general, and towards the end of his life, he said, "Well, we had talked about. Okay, what am I going to do? I don't. First of all, I did not want to go on without him. He was my partner."
25 years, right? I didn't realize this since you opened up the place. He was your guy.
Since the day I opened, he's been there. Yeah.
Wow.
Since before I opened. Yeah.
Wow.
He walked with me through the entire process from all the angst about opening a business and all this kind of thing and until the end. So he was there with me the whole time. But he said, if you've learned nothing about my journey this past year, just take to heart that you don't know what's around the corner. 1 year ago, I did not know that I would be dying next week. So if you want to retire, you need to do it now.
That's so true because, he got sick in I think it was August, September. We started to all kind of find out. And, of course, that happened here in the last few weeks. And for you, was there that moment, though, where you probably thought a lot about continuing on? What do I do? What was the moment when you said, I'm done. I'm out?
When I got a phone call from Donna telling me that he had passed.
Donna Baker, of course, the big boss here at Cumulus, Kansas City.
Right.
That was it. So it really was up until that last moment.
Me.
It hit you.
My heart sank, and I said, I'm almost going to tear up right now. That's it. I'm done.
You're done. Wow. So what's this been like the last few weeks for you? There's a lot of small business owners listening right now who either they're in the thick of their small business or they've, moved on from their small business. It is your baby.
Yeah.
So it's different from walking away from a corporate job, I feel.
Yes.
I've got to imagine it's different. You've seen this thing. You've been at the ground level for 25 years. What have the emotions been like through this process?
Well, okay, so first of all, it made me feel good to know that we've made it 25 years.
Yeah.
Okay, finally I got to the 25-year anniversary. That made me feel really good. We ended on top. We're on top of the world. My dealership is just killing it right now. And so there's so many things. And I've got a riding group called the Heartland Riders that is the strongest it has ever been. When it was a hog group, and then it transferred into an all brand motorcycle group, and it is stronger now than it has ever been. And all this stuff just makes me feel good that we are leaving on top, and we are leaving. It's my terms that we are closing the doors. I'm not leaving because we're forced out and things are bad. And so, I just can't make it anymore. And so I'm going to just close the doors and walk away. We're leaving when it's the greatest.
And that's how we all want to leave at some point, right?
Yes,
I mean, you don't want to be shown the door. You don't want to leave because you have to.
Exactly.
You want to say, no, I'm going to leave because I can and I want to.
Yes.
When you think about 25 years in small business in Kansas City, what is the thing that this community has done for you, given back to you, beyond obviously the tremendous sales? What are those things that you think back on fondly the last 25 years?
What I think about immediately is the people that bring their kids to me to meet me.
Yeah.
They say, "This is Gail," and it makes me feel really good to think that they want to introduce their kids to me because I do good, and this is what they want their kids to grow up to do, something that makes a difference in people's lives. And I feel good that I've reached out to the people, and the people have reached out to me. I've been able to help charities throughout this entire time. I mean, I've given several $1 million to charities, and it feels good because people have given back to me. I wouldn't be here if it weren't for the people of Kansas City just embracing me, and it feels so good.
What are some of those charities that you loved helping the last quarter century in this town?
Wayside Waifs.
Yeah.
I love Wayside Waifs.
Yes.
Special Olympics.
Yeah.
They're Michael Bergen's Night Train Run, which is a ride for kids, for underprivileged kids, to help them get through Christmas. We buy Christmas gifts. There's just so many things. And then SAFE, the Spouse Endowment Fund. I'm sorry, I don't know the name of it. But it's for the first responders.
Yeah.
There's just so many things out there that I have helped, and I've wanted to help even more. Journey Church, and there's just so many churches too that have been there for me. And I don't know, there's so many things. The police and firefighters and the military, anything to do with them, anything I can do to help them has been fantastic because they've always been there for me.
That's awesome. Gail Worth is here in the studios on KCMO for our Feature Friday segment on 95.7 FM. Of course, Gail's Harley Davidson closing up tomorrow. She is sailing off into the sun. I guess I can't say sailing off, riding off into the sunset. Probably the better way to put it. We're going to take a quick break, come back with more with Gail Worth next on 95.7 FM KCMO. We are continuing on a Feature Friday. Gail Worth is joining us on KCMO, owner of Gail's Harley Davidson, of course, in Grandview. They are closing up, final day tomorrow. People are asking Gail on the text line, I think it's a good question, why not sell Gail's? Why just close it all down?
Well, that's a great question. I'm glad you asked that, Pete. I can't sell Gail's because it's my name. It's my reputation. Everything I have worked hard for the last 25 years is encompassed around Gail's, and I can't sell it. If somebody was to buy it, they would have to continue my legacy, and nobody can do that. I don't care what my legacy is. Somebody cannot emulate exactly somebody else. And my future, which I'm going on in Kansas City, would hinge on this person doing everything the way I want it done.
Yeah, you're not like going somewhere, right? You're
right,
staying
exactly.
here.
I'm staying right
here.
So
suddenly somebody effectively buys your naming rights,
right.
And if they drive the place into the ground, they're going to associate it with you because your name's still on the business.
Right.
So that would be problematic. Okay,
it would.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense because some people on the text line want you to run for mayor, by the way. So I'm reading it right now. Gail, please, Pete, please tell Gail we want her to run for mayor. So, I mean, if you got a political future,
thank you.
I'm just saying, you don't want your name on a building of a business that's not doing well.
That's a good point.
So what about the last few years for all small businesses have been tough? COVID hits, digging out of that, inflation, everything else. What have you, just as a small business owner going through the last few years, where has that stacked up during your 25-year run, and how tough was it at times just trying to figure out what the heck's going on in the world?
Well, I can tell you these last few years have been harder than the last 25. I mean,
really?
Oh, truly. These
Wow.
last few years have been just really, really hard. Everything is more expensive. It's ridiculous how expensive everything has become. And finding help is hard. Finding good quality help is hard. I've been blessed. I have found good quality help, but it's difficult. I mean, the process of finding these good people is really so much more difficult than it used to be. It's just and the attitudes are different today than they were just a couple of years ago. It's just, everything's changed dramatically.
Is it just like entitlement, not wanting to work,
Yes.
not showing up,
Yes.
work
Yes,
on my own terms, all that
Every
kind of
single
nonsense?
one of those things. It's ridiculous. It really is. It's crazy.
Is it a mindset? Is it
People
cultural?
leaving during the middle of the day and not coming back.
That's crazy.
I know.
Just no respect is what it feels like.
Yes. Absolutely.
I don't know how else to put it. I mean, you hear the same thing from people that own restaurants. Any small business is kind of any business is kind of feeling that right now. It feels like, and has
It's
felt
true.
it for the last 3-4 years.
Yes. It has. And so it made this decision pretty easy.
Yeah.
Relatively easy, I should say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just something that it's a damn shame, and there's a lot of reasons for it. But what about you? I mean, when you think about what your next is, what does it look like? First off, what's the first trip you're going on? People want to know that. What's the first trip?
Okay, well, Harley Davidson's annual party is at the end of July, and I will likely, Mr. Gail and I, my boyfriend, his name is also Gail. So
Is that right?
yeah, isn't that funny?
Oh, my
He's
goodness.
the greatest guy on the planet. Man, he's
Now,
been
is
my
he
rock.
Gale?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So he's Gail with an E, you're Gail with an I.
Yes.
And
So we are going to Milwaukee, and then, of course, we're going to Sturgis together.
oh, yeah, that's right.
Right after that.
And you've gone, what, every year? more or
Every
less?
year, he and I go to Sturgis. Every year, we do everything together. But we do go to Sturgis together every year, and it's fantastic. My parents go. It's just a blast.
I was going to say, they stayed strong during COVID. They didn't give a damn.
Oh,
Everyone was
yeah,
mocking
no
them. Hey,
way.
look at that super spreader event. It's, oh, my goodness. So
That's right.
That's great. You guys were there through and through. That's right. Okay, so that's the short term. What about the long term? You're staying in the Kansas City area? That's the plan?
I am staying in the Kansas City area. We're starting a video series on YouTube. So pay attention to our Facebook page. Follow the Gail's Harley Davidson Facebook page or the Gail's Harley Chick, and we'll keep you informed of what's going on with our
That's
video
great.
series. We're starting a podcast. Slacker and I actually started working on this podcast together because years and years and years ago, we started this TV show that we turned into a podcast and video series. And it's all lots of fun stuff that includes Slacker in the middle of the whole thing.
Wow.
Coming
So
up.
you'll be content creating here in Kansas City?
Yes, with
Okay.
Cumulus.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. All right. So when you look at just where things go from here, I know you're selling your business as well. You're selling the physical space.
Yes, the
50,000
building.
foot building, right?
Yes.
10 acres.
Yes.
Okay. Where can people find information on that? Because we
Okay.
might have some sellers who want to get in on that deal.
Right. Okay. So it's 50,000 square feet. It's beautiful on 10 acres in Grandview. The neat thing is you have the access of Kansas City. It's on I-49, and you do not have to pay the Kansas City taxes. Go to Newmark Zimmer. They have it listed.
They do?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. You don't have to pay the earnings tax or any of that nonsense. You're
Nope.
outside of city limits.
And you work with a small town.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty fantastic.
That's great. That's a
Right
great
by
point as well.
Honeywell.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's really nice.
right there. So it's a great location, obviously. When you think about where your industry is at, I mean, we know about the issues in the car industry right now, just getting parts, labor, everything you talked about earlier. How do you see that playing out in the years ahead?
I think it's going to shake out and be fine. I really do. I feel good about it. I have another dealership. It's called Shawnee Cycle Plaza in Shawnee, Kansas. I'm keeping it open because it clicks along on its own. I have a guy, an amazing general manager, Donnie Rooks over there, that just runs it, and so it's passive income for me. But it's going really well. It's fantastic, and we're actually up this year. So I feel like things are going to go in the right direction.
You think they're
for the
getting better
world. I really
overall?
do.
Okay.
I feel I don't know. I think people are seeing the future, and I don't know. You get to this point, just like during COVID, where you're saying, "Oh man, I'm just going to go through this regardless. I'm going to get through." It's hard. It's hard, but I think I think resilient people. We're going to drive right on through.
Yeah. What's your, and I don't know this, I'm asking you on the air. Are you from Kansas City originally?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
Dalton.
you're born and bred Kansas City's your hometown.
Oh, yeah.
Can you see yourself anywhere else?
No way. Kansas City through and through, man.
Okay.
I love the people in Kansas City. I love everything, the access to Kansas City. Everything about it, I adore.
But are you going to find yourself on a beach or on the mountains, at least at some
Heck
point in your
yes.
spare time? All right, what's the
yeah.
go-to then? Beach, mountains, where are you going?
Well, my preference is the mountains.
Okay.
Yeah, we like to go to Florida a lot. I mean, who doesn't love Florida?
Mm-hmm.
But my preference is South Dakota.
Really?
Yeah, it's beautiful up there.
Okay. Is there a spot in particular up there
Well,
that you like?
I know it sounds crazy, but the Black Hills.
Okay.
It's so majestic. Yellowstone area is just absolutely fantastic. It just, I don't know. I love Mount Rushmore. It just takes my breath away. To this day, I mean, I've been seeing Mount Rushmore my entire life, but to this day, it tears me up.
Yeah, I've never been up there. It's on the bucket list, but when you got 3 little kids, you
Sure.
can't really think about Mount Rushmore, right? I try not to. It's like
Yeah, right.
there's a day for that. It's not right now. That's awesome. Okay, now what about there's been a lot of support from some of our friends here. Mark Alford loves you, and I know
Mark.
you love Mark.
He's
so
my
that's
BFF too.
So just relationships like that. When you think about the last 25 years in Kansas City, what stands out to you?
Well, that.
Yeah.
Truly, it's just all the relationships. That's a neat thing about Kansas City is where everybody is so real, and I don't know. It's like the good old boys. It's real when what you see is what you get, and I really like that as a whole. With all the business people around here are just fun, easy to talk to people.
Is there a memory that I know you got a million of them, but is there one that really has just stood out to you as you've thought about the last 25 years over the last few weeks? Is there one thing in particular?
Well, I mean, it sounds crazy because if I was to think about the greatest memory, this sounds all right. You're going to say, "Oh, that's kind of wishy," but when my boyfriend proposed to me, and yeah, but I would tell you it was 20 years ago.
Well, that's a big. But here's the thing. Wait. So are you saying you're still engaged?
We are still engaged.
Oh, okay.
For 20 years.
20 years engaged. Hey, I guess if it's not broken, there's no need to try to fix it. I mean,
right?
I don't know. I mean, if you're not having kids and everyone's happy,
right?
then
Exactly.
that's
my
it,
claim
right?
his kids as my kids, and we have grandkids together.
Okay.
And yeah, so that's what we got.
But here's the thing. It all ties back together to the point that the memories are personal. It's not about necessarily the business or 1 month of great sales that stand out. It's the memories of your personal life that you will ultimately
That's very true.
cherish.
Yes, it is.
Well, Gail Worth obviously needs no introduction to this audience. Thank you for being here, for doing these couple of segments on a Friday. And,
Thank you, Pete.
Congratulations on everything.
Than's so much.
You bet. Tomorrow's the last day, and people can stop by, right? They can come
Absolutely.
out?
We're open till 5.
Great deal. All right. Gail Worth on KCMO Talk Radio. Great stuff. Gail's Harley Davidson closing up tomorrow, and great to have her on KCMO 95.7 FM.